Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It's Monday morning here. And wow, Harry and Meghan they just keep making things worse for themselves. Honestly, they're their own worst enemies, really. We've had Harry just been in court against his father's government and Ravek over his PPI security or IPP security appeal. He wants all the bells and whistles, even though he's not a royal anymore. Meghan wants them too. She wants the motorcade. Well, so he's just in court, fighting for his life, as his lawyer said. The security that he desperately needs and they're not willing to give him. Yet he pops up in war-torn Ukraine, at war with Russia, and that's safer than the streets in New York or any one of the many castles or royal residences. Yeah, when he was in London for the court case this time, he stayed at a very swanky hotel, not too far, they say about maybe 20 minutes from Adelaide Cottage. William and Catherine's residence in Windsor. Now, the papers are saying, oh, he did that as a holding out an olive branch, and he made sure that the Palisades knew where he was staying. What do you think? That William would say, oh, wow, I'm going to run over and have a visit with him. He's in town. No. There's no love lost anymore between William, Catherine, Harry, and Meghan. The die is cast, the relationship is severed, and I don't think will ever be reestablished. Harry and Meghan have betrayed all trust. They've lost all credibility. They've embarrassed the royal family dreadfully. They've insulted Catherine. The list goes on. A lot of media are reporting that the word is getting out through his sources and through his friends that once William is king, he will, be done. There will be no more loose invitations like we get from the king. To Harry, an open invitation, this kind of thing that we've heard about. None of that with William. He plans to sever ties completely and put them out in the cold completely with no further contact at all. Now, this is why, and Harry knows this, they sure do. This is why Harry's fighting so hard right now for this IPP status, because not only will it confer that level of status and protection upon him, it removes the possibility of prosecution for anything they might be found out about. It's just, he wants to, and in a way, because of this IPP status being granted because of his position, perhaps he's thinking too this would be a deterrent against William trying to take the titles away. We know that Meghan, she's using Sussex. Oh, that's my name. And then some days it's not her name. She got backlash for that. Um, they're trying to position themselves to make it very difficult for William to reduce their status or anything, is what I think, you know. Um, we've seen some of examples. I mean, well, we always see examples of it with Meghan overblowing her appearances here and there, and you know, she's just a fame hog, and she wants all the, you know, the princess treatment, right? The motorcade. And we saw this with a recent trip to New York, allegedly to go out with friends and then go to the theater and see the production of Gypsy. I mean, still in all that money, and look, she dresses terribly. But now some people are saying, and I haven't looked into it myself, I guess I should, that even this picture of her in the motorcade in New York, and that this was not exactly, you know, things aren't what they seem. People are saying that couldn't have been this past few days because it was raining in New York, and in none of these pictures are there any puddles or rain or any evidence of rain. So that these pictures would have had to have been taken at a different time and just slotted in, which we know Meghan has done time and time and time again. That's kind of her MO. It's like she's got a shoebox of all these pictures in the back there, you know, that she can just kind of pull out when she needs to, you know. Harry was in the Ukraine. Harry was busy. She needed some attention. He was getting all the attention. Pops up in Ukraine. So she needed to do something, and that's all this was, is just another publicity stunt. But there's even more. So Harry does this trip to Ukraine. Well, turns out they receive a letter from the vice president, right? And it's not clear whether it's directed to Harry or Meghan, but presumably to Harry, because he was the royal that went. I mean, as royal's gonna be after what he's done, I guess, but they still consider him a royal, and, you know. So anyway, they write him a letter. And of thanks, you know, thanks for everything you're doing. I've got it here on my phone. Hang on. Let's just see. And he addresses them. He addresses the letter to Your Royal Highness, presumably meaning Harry. Perhaps he doesn't know that those titles are in abeyance and they're not allowed to use them. However, Meghan, oh man, she was so quick to pop this letter up on her Instagram to let everybody see that title, to remind everybody that they're technically still their Royal Highnesses, right? Which they're not allowed to use. Now, this is going to enrage William. This HRH title that it was put in abeyance by the Queen herself. Queen Elizabeth II said, you can no longer use these titles. You can no longer use your HRH. She didn't strip him of it, but no, put that one in the back burner. You're not allowed to use it. And here she is. Any opportunity that she has that she can promote these titles. And, you know, here's the thing. Like if some official in Ukraine or some other country thinks that, you know, they're still HRH and is going to use that, right? So William, you know, her attitude is okay. If They think it's okay to use it. I can use it in response. This is what they're calling me. This is what she likes. Should just kind of let it happen. Should never correct him and say, oh, I'm so sorry. We're not HRH anymore. Duke and Duchess will do. No. Are you kidding me? Any opportunity to promote those titles, because in her head, I think what her and really Harry are thinking too is that the use of the name Sussex, the use of the titles, the promotion of those kinds of things, the putting it forward that it is going to make it harder and harder for William to eventually strip them of these titles. Now, everybody knows that William can't wait to see the back of them, and once he's king, these two, he will strip them of that HRH. Once he's king, these two, he is going to exile them, never to darken a doorway of the British monarchy yet again. This is his plan, full and total exile. Now, getting to the titles. Yup, he can take the HRH away. Not a problem. People say there's a difficulty with the Sussex title, the Duke and Duchess. That's a difficult one to take away because it requires an act of Parliament. Not really. Keep in mind, it's the King's government. And a letters patent. Oh, he could sign a letters patent. They make it sound like a big thing. It's, the equivalent of an interoffice memo. Hey, we're going to be doing this now. The king's prerogative, the monarch's prerogative, means basically anything goes. These rules and rituals and back and forth and the theater of monarchy is just that. It's theater. They don't want you to know just how much power they actually have, so they use it rarely. They swing the sword rarely. And they usually do it in ways that are behind the scenes, so we don't really see what's happening. It's true. It's true. William, now, he, as monarch, when he becomes monarch, would have enough sway with his government that even if they want to stick to the narrative that it would have to be a parliamentary decision to strip them of the Sussex titles, William wouldn't be beyond offering a little influence and advice to his ministers. So, even if they got to play along and, okay, it requires an act of Parliament, it would be perfectly sanctioned and approved of by the monarchy. So there's no issue there. But then people say, well, good grief, if you take the Duke and Duchess away, you still got Prince Harry, and then she can call herself, well, Princess Meghan. Now, technically and legally, her name would be Princess, I believe his name's Herbert, Harry's full name. Yeah. So that was, or Prince Harry, his colloquialism. But either way, she would have to, because it's his title, right? And we know that might last, 6 minutes, but she'd be calling herself and everybody else would be calling her Princess Meghan in no time, right? And this is what people are worried about. Well, if you take the Sussex away, she's going to be a princess, and boy, will she milk that. There's talk that she's trying to get a meeting with the king and negotiate things and negotiate the titles and all the things, because they're getting that feedback that these kind of things is what's being talked about in the palace now. We'll tell you a couple things. Talk about being kicked to the curb as soon as William is in charge. That's why they're afraid. That's why they need their IPP status to maintain a royal status amongst all the other perks, right? They know without those titles, they will just slip into obscurity so damn fast. So they're really, really fighting right now. Meghan's really, really pushing, the whole Duchess gig, right? It's laughable because what I really think that William's time, and I've said this time and time again, I really think William's time is going to come sooner than we think. I think it's a matter of months till we hear a statement of the king. And what I've said all along in my playlist, King Charles III, Life Imitating Art, is that William is going to be able to basically push him off the throne due to his lagging reputation amongst the public. Just not being a great king. He's a kind of a failed king. In William's eyes. And in some of the public's eyes. And this whole mess with Harry and Meghan and the fact that he chooses to do nothing. That it could lead to a constitutional crisis. My God, do you want Harry and Meghan on the throne if something horrible was to happen? She's even said it. Oh, we're just one plane crash away from the throne. Can you imagine? So William has to act fast. And here we go. We're getting closer and closer. And I just think it's really now that we're down to a matter of months. Excuse me. That the king is going to step down, abdicate in favor of William. And I said this before we even had a cancer diagnosis of the king. And so, yeah, cancer, sure. Terrible thing, reason to step down, yeah. Whether it's the actual reason, I think he's being pushed aside, and they're going to use the cancer as the reason that he's stepping down. Kind of a throwback to Wallace and Edward. Everybody was told when he abdicated that it was, he couldn't perform his duties without the woman he loved. He did it for love. Not so. He was pressured to quit. He was pressured to quit by a government, by a prime minister, by an archbishop that all saw his feelings about which way the war was going in Germany and where his loyalties lied, and that he was actually a danger to the British monarchy. So it really happened. Research that one. It wasn't love nor money that took him off the throne. And this is what's got to happen with Harry and Meghan. They have got to be stripped of all heraldry and tossed to the curb, like absolutely banished. Much in the same way that Wallace and Edward were after. So it's really kind of wild. King Charles III, Life Imitating Art. The Time Loop. Wallace and Edward and the comparisons with Harry and Meghan. Another playlist of mine. And look how it's all converging. I find that highly interesting. Hope you do too. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I want to know what you're thinking. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.